Hi, my name is Brad. I used to have an unhealthy relationship with money. I work in the service sector and I get paid 26 times per year or once every 2 weeks. And my mind was eventually changed about how I view money and debt and using credit. And so I started using simple tools such as a calendar, and this is the calendar I use. This is the puppy of the month. And then I use pieces of paper and pen, and I started with lined notebook and then would just use the lines to write out my different categories and whatnot. But now I made a little form on Excel. But you don't need anything super fancy to do what I'm doing. And then I've done cash stuffing with envelopes, but then I moved things over so that most of my bills and many of my expenses are using a digital cash envelope kind of a system called Qube Money. But feel free to use whatever works for you. This is something that is possible for anybody, really on any budget, I believe. So our theme for this channel is Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6. In this video, we will be looking at my paycheck from March 6th, so it'll be the first paycheck of the month, and we'll be going through and writing out the information on paper first and then assigning those dollars into my digital envelopes. So I hope you enjoy. All right, let's start by taking an overview of what we will do on this worksheet. This will be for the pay period of March 6th through the 19th. And this worksheet includes things that I'm going to do for both banks. I have the brick and mortar bank that's in this square. And then starting underneath there, I've got my Qube Money digital envelopes. And from here on down, and then the entire column over here, that's all going to be for Qube. And so that way I can see on one sheet at a glance everything for this pay period. Okay, in my bank I have a rollover amount. So I'll start by putting in what that rollover amount is here, $79.16. And then my wages plus overtime was paid on the 6th, and the portion that goes to my brick and mortar bank was $145.80. So that means there's a total of $224.96. As far as expenses and savings, I'm going to break this down into cash, laundry, and transfer to Qube Money. I've decided I'm not going to take any cash out this time around. I will take out 2 rolls of quarters for laundry. And I have a bunch left, so I'm going to transfer some more money over to Qube. And then that means I've got a total of 140 that I'm taking out. And so if you take the income minus the expenses, my rollover becomes my new savings, $84.96. Eventually I want to get this up to $100, but I think this is getting closer and closer each time I do it. So now I'm going to look at the Qube Money app and their categories. So first of all, the income that comes from my wages and overtime that comes directly into the cubes. That's going to be this time around, because I had some overtime, $13.64. And then remember, I did transfer some money, so I'll put that $120 here. That means I've got $14.84 to work with. And my tithes and offerings based on my wages, is going to go to my church. And so I'll put that in there. And then I can do the total at the bottom. You take $14.84 minus that. You come up with $13.34 left. So I'll head on over to the next column here. And so bills. This is what my last video was all about. I'd taken all my bills and split them out between 26 paychecks. And so I already know that from this paycheck, all of my bills, the money that I'm putting towards my bills, is going to be $966. So that's a total there, $966. And my remaining balance from the bottom of the first column was $13.34. If I take that minus $966, means I've got a remaining balance of $368. Then my expenses that I normally use out of this account are my groceries, dining out and fast food, which is lumped into one category for me. I used to have it as two, but it makes more sense just to do it as one, at least for now. Gas and household items. So groceries, I'm going to set aside $180. So $90 per week basically is what I'm planning to spend. Dining out and fast food, $20 per week, so $40. Gas, $30 for the entire period of time. Household items this time around, I'm going to just put 10 in there. And then that equals $260. Take $368 minus $260, and my remaining amount is $108. And then I go down into my savings, and I'm going to be using the same savings categories, the same savings challenges that I did up to this point and that I did last year. But my approach to them might be a little different. So whereas I always put an entire $51 in the 51 envelopes before, I'm going to start with my 12 by 26. So I'm always going to have $12 into that savings category. And then I did roll the dice and I came up with 8 for a number. So I'm going to put $8 into my dice challenge. And then I would like to have $80 remaining for my sinking funds. So that means that in my 51 envelopes this time around, I'm going to put $8 in there. So the total here is going to be $28. If you take 108 minus 28, then you have $80 left. And I've decided that that's going to be into the sinking funds. I rearranged some of my sinking funds so that I'd have them in order from most important on down to least important at the very end. So I always want to put a little bit towards these things that are billed to me once a year, twice a year. It looks like all of these are just once per year. So I always want to try to put together enough money to keep this funded every single paycheck. So the Qube fees, I just put $5 per paycheck. Norton antivirus, I do $10. My car registration, I do $5. Bluehost, which is an annual bill that I get, that's $10. And tax preparation, I do $5. So that's a total of $35. And I'm going to start with 80. So if I take that and minus the $35, that means I should have $45 left. Then moving down to prescriptions, because I'm on a new health plan, I no longer get free generic prescriptions. So I'm putting away 30 per paycheck for that. Haircut, I've always put 5 for that. So that's $35. And I take my remaining 45 minus 35. I have $10 left. My next category is under transportation for oil and lube. So I'm going to just put $10 there. And then that means I'm out of money. All right, so with my savings challenges, I have these in a little bit different order now, but it's still all the same. Let's start with the 12 by 26. So this is going to be for March 6th. I put $12 in, or I'm about to anyways. And then the dice challenge, I did roll the dice. So I'll add that in here as well. And that was $8. So if I take last week's 48 plus 8, that means I have $56 in this savings challenge. Then the 51 envelopes. I'm no longer in a spot where every single week I am not going to put 51 envelopes in. But some weeks I might be able to put more than that in, and other weeks less. This week is one where I am putting less in. So it's $8. I've already got 1 through 4 filled in. See, if I had like a 7 and a 1 available, I would have done that, but looks like 8's my only real option right now. So I'll fill that one in today. All right, here's my calendar, and we'll take a look at the bills for this pay period. I actually put the money aside during last pay period to take care of utilities, which is due on the 6th, which is also payday. So that's already taken care of. So I'm not going to count the utility bill, but I will count anything else leading up to the next payday right here. And so I have this on my list of bills. And I'm going to use a Bible marker to mark up the right dates here. So utilities, that one I've already paid, so I don't have any amount to go into the payment plan here. But I do have amounts that I need to pay during this pay period for Care Credit, Midco, and Netflix, and State Farm. So just going to color this in as a nice little visual. So there we go. For Care Credit, this month the bill on the 10th should be $194, and that's the amount of money that I'm going to fund. So this one must be starting out with a 0 balance. I think they all might be, actually, with the exception of utilities, since that was paid. So the payment plan is going to be $194. It's going to be on the 10th, right here, for $194. Then when it's paid, I'm going to put a check mark over here and the date that it was paid. And then I'll put an ending balance, which should be 0 again, since I'm basically depleting that fund. So Midco, I'm putting in $64.73. which again is the amount that I owe this month. But as we continue to do this through the year, the beginning balance is going to start to grow and grow, so I won't have to put as much in order to have the money that I need for the payment plan to work. So Netflix, that I'm putting eight. So here's an example. I'm putting $8.58 into Netflix, but the bill's only going to be $7.42. So after that's paid, I'm going to have a balance, and I'll carry that over to the next pay period. Then State Farm also started with a zero balance. And this was one that I had to put the whole amount in order to be fully funded for this one. So this time around, the bills doesn't look a whole lot different than what it looked like when I was doing it the old way. So, but we'll start seeing in the next few pay periods how this beginning balance is going to keep growing, and then I won't have to put nearly as much over here, and that's why I needed more for my total for this paycheck. Once I get through this paycheck and the next paycheck, this total down here is going to be more like $650 for each paycheck. So I'll have $300 that I can use for other things, such as sinking funds or whatever. Alright, this video is getting a little bit long, so in the last few minutes of the video I just wanted to show a little bit of what I did with putting in the numbers from my worksheets into the Qube Money app. And so I first started out by the ones that I had already put in. I put a check mark next to them in the bills area. Then I went and looked at my income and made sure that the dates were put in there for when I received the income. For all of my expenses, I had already put those into the Qube app, so I marked those off, and then I put the date in that I had entered in those into the Qube app. And I just kept doing this throughout the worksheet, and then it helped me to get a good idea of those areas that still needed to be added. And then I went back over to my brick and mortar bank and put down the dates that I brought in, that I took out the cash for the laundry. And then here's a couple screenshots of some of the work that I did for funding my cubes. In a future video, I'll probably split this out a little bit more, where one video is the pen and paper stuff and the other video is the Qube app. But I know this week I had taken, my former video was entirely planning, so I hope you enjoy it. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If this is something that you enjoy and you would like to see more of, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you can see when I put out new videos. And I hope that you have a blessed day. Take care.